Okay, hi everyone, welcome back. And in this update, we are going to check out ICP's price chart and see what is going on in the short term. And spoiler alert, I think we might be able to identify some interesting signs indicating that maybe soon in internet computer, we are going to witness some big moves on the upside. But before we get into all that, we are going to talk about the Hello Self-Writing Internet event, which in it Dominic Williams had, I think, about 10 to 15 minutes speech, and pretty much at the end of it, he talked about the important concept of utopia. And why is that important? Because for a while, a lot of people thought that utopia was just the old concept that may or may not have been shelved or possibly replaced by something else. But it seems like that is absolutely not the case, because Dominic talking about utopia, in my view, absolutely confirms something important. Utopia is still very much in the works, and if he's mentioning it on the stage, in my opinion, it's because it's actually a major part of Definity's long-term vision. Now, question is, why utopia even matters? For those of you who are new viewers, we are going to break it all down. You see, utopia isn't just another infrastructure product, like for example, oh look, here is another subnet. No, it's actually trying to flip the whole software development model, and here is how. With the help of Utopia and platforms like Caffeine, you are not coding line by line anymore. No, you literally build and evolve apps by having natural language conversations with artificial intelligence. And that sounds insane, but I think we can now all agree that it is very much feasible, and we saw it happen, and this is what they call the self-writing paradigm. The point is, number one, you don't need to know Rust or Motoko. Number two, you don't really need a developer team. And number three, all you need is an idea and a chat window. This completely removes the dev bottleneck we have had for many years. Instead of a handful of engineers running the world, anybody, for example, including startups, school, possibly even governments, can now relatively easily build software. And because all of this is happening on sovereign infrastructure, not big tech cloud, it's decentralized, tamper-proof, and not tied to Amazon or Google. Now, here is a very important point for you. You see, Web3 is awesome, but there are only about, I believe, 35,000 blockchain devs worldwide, and that is what we call absolutely nothing. And Dominic pointed this out directly. He said, we have billions of smartphones out there, but just a few tens of thousands of people who can actually build Web3 apps. Utopia, in my view, flips that ratio on its head. With tools like Caffeine and the self-writing system, anybody with a smartphone can build, and we are talking about, for example, millions of new potential creators instantly on board through artificial intelligence. This kind of accessibility is something that we have never ever seen before, not even in Web 2. It is like turning everybody into a mini startup, and the infrastructure, it seems like that is absolutely ready for it. Now, let's address the enterprise and government's angle, because that's kind of a real barrier in adoption. And let's be honest, the truth is a lot of institutions do not really trust public blockchains because of number one, data sovereignty concerns, number two, regulatory risk. This is actually a big one. And number three, lack of control. Utopia completely solves these problems. It lets them, number one, deploy on private subnets, two, maintain full control over their data, and three, still benefit from decentralization, cryptographic security, and also self-healing architecture. So what do you get in this situation? You get something unstoppable, you get something regulation friendly. This is again kind of the main point. And also you get something that can run mission critical services. Think, for example, national infrastructure, healthcare platforms, digital IDs, and even AI governance tools that need to be tamper-proof. So yes, Utopia is not just some sci-fi name. No, it's actually a real system being pushed forward by Definity, and honestly, it is kind of answering some of the toughest challenges in the modern software infrastructure. Now, let's talk about why Utopia does actually have the power to drive massive real-world adoption of internet computer. And here's the situation. Traditional software, whether it's going to be Web 2 or even most Web 3s, they were not really built for a world where AI writes the code. Utopia flips that on its head. It introduces a new AI native programming language called, you know it, Otoko. It also introduces real-time updates to live running systems and something called enhanced orthogonal persistence, and it basically erases the line between your logic and your data. And if you are absolutely confused, I think you have every single right to be. Here is the translation for you. This stack is made for AI to build, update, and run softwares all by itself. You don't really need constant human input. The AI can literally iterate and evolve apps on its own. And that is not just innovation. No, it is a complete shift in how we think about software development. Now, here is a very, very important point. Utopia is not really trying to beat Ethereum or Solana. No, it is actually going after AWS, Azure, and Google Cloud. It offers, number one, a decentralized cloud, two, full cryptographic verification, three, private and secure deployments, and four, zero trust architecture built right in. This is huge, especially now when institutions are starting to wake up to the risks of centralized infrastructure, especially in an AI-dominated future. With the help of Utopia, you are getting Web3 native cloud infrastructure that is secured by design and AI ready out of the box. And honestly, for enterprises and especially governments who are trying to figure out how to combine AI and decentralization, Utopia might just be the exact solution that they have been waiting for so long. Now, let's zoom in a little bit, because Utopia is not just for big players. You see, it is also built for individuals and possibly micro communities. And Dominic mentioned a couple of examples. He mentioned, for example, custom private social networks for families and also hyper-local esports tournaments with trustless prize pools. And with the help of Utopia and also Caffeine AI together, stuff that used to be too complex or expensive to build all of a sudden becomes easy and affordable through self-writing apps powered by artificial intelligence. This is like giving every neighborhood, every school, and every small business their own developer team, except the fact that developer in this situation is artificial intelligence. This, in my view, could potentially spark the same bottom-up explosion of creativity we saw in the early internet days, only now it's actually smarter, safer, and also fully sovereign. So, as final conclusion, let's just connect the dots real quick. Utopia is a fully decentralized sovereign cloud. Also, Utopia is designed for AI to build and run softwares, and it is also very much flexible to serve everybody from governments to gamers. And that, my friends, is a massive value proposition. This isn't just about infrastructure. No, it is a blueprint for the next version of the internet. And guess what? ICP is the only platform at the moment that can actually deliver this promise. And that is exactly why Utopia is not just hype. It is full utility, and it is exactly why a massive bull run for Internet Computers token is not just possible. In my opinion, it's just becoming more and more likely by the day. In my view, ICP does have all the right fundamentals, and in terms of technical analysis, I think we are having the best possible structures out there in the midterm. And sure, maybe in the short term, some things are going to be up for debate, but when it comes to maybe the next 6 months to about a year, I think in Internet Computer, we are extremely bullish. Why? Because in case that you are a regular viewer, you should know that starting from the lowest low in ICP, excuse me, let's just put the chart back on logarithmic, we do have a clear-cut, picture-perfect 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wave impulsive structure up, and followed by that, this seems to be very much a slow and choppy move on the downside. So what is it that I'm trying to say? I'm trying to tell you this is an impulse followed by a correction. It is a massive bullish setup, because on a higher degree, it might be a wave 1, excuse me, there we go, correction for wave 2. And what's next if this scenario is happening? I think in the midterm in ICP, we can expect a massive bull run into wave 3 and 4 and 5. And why do I say we can expect a huge bull run? Because in terms of Elliott waves, wave 3 is in most cases quite a strong and sharp move on the upside. And I think in ICP at the moment, we are just setting the stage for that specific move. Now, whether in the short term, the low, the final one is already in or not, I think that can be up for debate. And you can actually argue that we are having off of the lowest low a 1 correction for wave 2, big move up into wave 3, and whether this point can be the end of our wave 4, another move up into wave 5 or not, okay, I think we can debate about that. So if you remember, the last time that we talked about ICP, I think we were right in here, and the idea was that if we do go down and take this important low, at that point, maybe we should actually consider this scenario indicating the 5 wave on the upside is complete. And then what are we going to do next? We are probably going to witness some consolidation patterns, some choppy moves on the downside. And assuming that in this phase, we identify all the right subwaves, it can be the buy opportunity of a lifetime. Why is that? Because once more, on a higher degree, we may end up having in this area 5 up into 1 correction for wave 2, and then potentially and hopefully a huge move up into wave 3, 4, 5. But here's the situation. Sure, we did go down in ICP, but if I just hide everything, as you can see, we absolutely did not take this important slow down here about 5.4 cents. So what does that mean? I think as long as we are not taking this low, we are still allowed to consider some sort of an extension scenario. And sure, you can argue this is the end of our wave 3. This can be maybe the end of our wave 4. But I think for our wave 5, we are allowed to consider this thing being a wave 1 correction for wave 2, and what's next? Big move up into wave 3, 4, 5. And at that point, okay, maybe we have completed a 5 wave up in ICP, and it's gonna be time to consolidate for a bit. But again, the move down that we may or even may not get is not going to be a short opportunity. It's actually quite the opposite. It is going to be a beautiful long opportunity, in hope that we start the next major phase of the bull run. So overall in ICP, I think we are looking optimistic. And finally, let's talk about a potential bearish count, because we haven't really talked about this in the last few videos. You see, in ICP, I do kind of have a slight problem, because in this phase down, we actually took this important low, and more importantly, we took this one down here about, let's say, $4.4. And why is that important? Because now finding a 5 wave in here starting from the lowest low is a bit of a challenge. I'm not going to say it's like absolutely impossible to find. No, that is a silly thing to say, but I'm going to say this. The shape of the 5 wave that I'm kind of sort of able to find is looking so odd to a degree that is going to make me say, you know what, even in ICP, if the final low is already in, right around here is not really going to be a trading opportunity for me. I am absolutely fine with the positions that I already have, and I'm just simply not going to add more to my bags. In terms of my holdings for the mid to long term, I think the price should go under the lows in here about 4.3 for me to add some more to my portfolio. As long as we are not seeing these prices, and I think it might actually be gone forever, I'm just not going to buy ICP anymore. But again, this doesn't mean that overall I'm bearish. No, I am 1000% bullish. It's just the fact that I don't really want to get my average purchase higher and higher. And I hope I explained everything well and you understood what is going on in ICP's price chart. Anyway, if you found any value in my content, I would really appreciate if you like this video and consider subscribing to my channel and follow me on Twitter. And if you want more, maybe you want a complete analysis for your own specific crypto, or maybe you want to learn some decent TA in order to be able to make good money in the markets, you can become a member and ask me anything you want. And until the next update, I hope you have a wonderful time with your family and loved ones. Goodbye.